Got this book in 1988. Sticker from when I was really little. And the reading level here, you know, I was only in, what was it, like first grade when I got this. And I didn't know how to read it right away, but I knew how to look at the pictures. I knew that this was the U.S. and that the biggest rival was the USSR, who had the other big rockets. I knew from pictures that this is how the seasons worked. The tilt, that's how I know how seasons work. This is how I figured out how day and night work and how the months work. The pictures show you. There's dialogue, but you can still, as a kid, understand what the book was trying to tell you. And then, you know, okay, this picture didn't really show us, so this isn't that good. I didn't really understand what's going on, but this was the picture I was obsessed with. This is the picture I learned the planets from. Yeah, Pluto's there. But, like, you know, I was impressed as a kid that the science class I did as, like, you know, at the side I had art and music classes, showing that the sun was actually a big fireball, and I wanted to know more about what was up here. And then, you know, each one of these pages, I remember as a kid memorizing the different layers. I mean, you know, my parents had to tell me what they were to pronounce them. And then, you know, I memorized all these things like how much you weigh on each planet. And, you know, we got Venus, Earth. I remember finding those belts kind of intimidating because I didn't know what the hell they were. But, I remember seeing that picture of that rock on the moon. I remember learning how eclipses work because that's what this showed. I saw that the U.S. and the USSR were the only countries to go to the moon. Okay, this picture wasn't very good as a Saturn V. I learned it in another book, but it was trying to explain it there. And the one thing I didn't understand as a kid is I understood that the Viking Island there, but I didn't really understand that we didn't visit all these planets directly, even though the book hinted at it. But, you know, this is, like, you know, Saturn's moons. There's Uranus. It was just visited, like, a year or two before. We hadn't even visited Neptune yet at the time of this book. It would be visited a year later. Then I knew that there was asteroids, that there was comets, there was meteors, and then they could leave craters. That, okay, I didn't really care as much about the humans in space thing as a kid. I did look at the pictures, though. I did like this diagram explaining how the space shuttle worked. It was pretty cool. I didn't really ever look at that page much. And the constellations, now, I had other constellation books that did it better, but, you know, it was still a good map. They kind of gave me the idea. Then, I remember as a kid, I was like, well, there's the sun. These stars are bigger. I'm like, is that true that these stars are bigger? And it turns out, yes, it is. I had to get older to understand what was going on this page, but I figured it out by, like, 3rd grade or some shit. I had to get older to understand the life of a star. My parents tried to read it to me, and they explained that, you know, the sun would die someday, and all that is what they got out of this. The galaxies. I was aware that we were in a solar system. We were one of many stars, and that we lived in the galaxies. Now, at first, I thought, you know, this was 3 different galaxies, all called the Milky Way, and then these 3 were called the neighboring galaxy. But it took me a while to understand what was going on here. What was really going on is these are the globular clusters. This is the Milky Way, and this is on side. This explained the shapes of other galaxies. I didn't understand this picture till like maybe 2 years later, where it showed the map of our local group. Then the universe. Now, as a kid, when I was still, you know, religious, I assumed that heaven had to exist outside this circle. It couldn't be in the universe, it had to be outside of it. And I didn't really understand the Big Bang thing here until later on, but I just saw this as, this is what my image of what the universe is, and still how I think of it today. So, you know. So, yeah. About my reading level. Learned a fucking lot, though.